Hello, everybody, and welcome back to another Movie Nights movie review. Yes, I am virtual, but I'm not alone. I have Nicholas with me. What's up, dude?
What's up, everyone? How's it going?
Good, good. We just got out of seeing Inside Out 2, the latest film from Disney and Pixar, and the review is dropping when the embargo allows it. So, thank you guys for watching. If you're watching this here at 3 p.m. on Wednesday, 3 p.m. Eastern, that is. And how we'll do it is I'll kind of give my brief thoughts on the movie. Nick will give his, and then we'll kind of have a brief discussion about it. Also, no spoilers here. We're just going to give our kind of generic thoughts and breakdown of what we thought of the film, and I will go first. So, without further ado, Inside Out 2, I really enjoyed. I like this movie a lot. Is it as good as the first movie? No, but I don't think it needs to be. I don't think that was a requirement for me going in. I just wanted a good movie, and this is exactly what that is. There's only the flaws are few and far between. In regard to the positives, this film and the animation looks gorgeous and also visually consistent with that first film. The new characters are a delight. I didn't dislike one single new character that they added. I thought that the new story that they were telling with Riley and how that goes was very interesting and unique. I really loved the way that the new characters were kind of thrown into the situation of trying to run the show, and you have the characters we're familiar with not knowing how to handle that. Everything that the story set up was really nice. It's emotionally resonant as hell, just as that first movie was. It's a very emotional film. I also loved the pacing for the most part, and this is where I'll kind of use this to transition into my very few negatives, but the movie moves at a breakneck pace, and that works to the movie's benefit, but it also works to the movie's detriment. This thing moves, and sometimes you do wish it would sit and kind of have that character moment, but at the same time, the movie started, it finished like that, and you had that full satisfying arc within that quick runtime. The only other problem I have with the movie has to do with a plot device that's introduced, and it's introduced in the form of a character. I won't spoil who the character is. The character is very funny and very entertaining, and it got huge laughs in the theater, but it was a very clever disguise for a plot convenience way to get the characters pretty much out of every problem they find themselves in. I think they only don't use this issue one or two times, this plot device. And while the character using the plot device was fun, I did clock like, oh, I see what's going on, and they did go back to that well more than once, and that was noticeable. And in the first film, comparisons to Thief of Joy, but in the first film, I thought that the journey the characters go on and how that story was laid out, the screenplay was so effective that it didn't have that conveniency and matter of factness that this movie has. But other than that, I thoroughly enjoyed the film. It's funny, it's entertaining, it's sweet, it's sad. It's all those emotions that are characters. They're all in you watching the film. But Nicholas, I got my little spiel out of the way. Give me your thoughts, buddy.
Yeah, overall, I agree with a lot of the points that you made. I think in terms of comparing it to the first movie, I think it is a step down. However, I don't think that necessarily makes it a bad thing. I think that that's sort of a trend that happens with a lot of the Pixar sequels. I really like Finding Dory, but I think it is a step down from Finding Nemo. I really love The Incredibles 2, but I don't think it's near the first one. So I think that's just a common thing with the Pixar movies. That being said, I think where the movie really shines is when you get the dynamic of all the original characters, because the movie sort of opens up, and the whole crux of the movie is, all right, well, at the end of the movie, all the emotions learn to work together, that it's a blend, and everything's great. And really, in the opening, you get to see that in full effect, which is then when the new emotions come in that you start to see this sort of disruption. Um, but I think that the first movie focused a lot on joy and sadness in particular, and fear, anger, and disgust were sort of side characters in this, where they're fully like leads in this movie, and I think that's where the movie really gains a lot of momentum, especially from anger. Anger is a standout in this movie. Um, that being said, overall, the pacing was sort of an issue for me. It just sort of go, 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 and when you're introducing these complex emotions, and you want these sort of emotional moments between them all. You kind of want to just be able to sit. The first movie, they go to the different lands in her mind, and you kind of get like a 10-15 minutes in each land, more or less. This one, it's like go, 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 go. In terms of just negatives, I think that they may it definitely, and it could be an older thing. The first movie came out what 9 years ago, so I'm
Yeah.
naturally older. This movie felt a little more kiddie to me, and I think what that's a result of is they're introducing these really complex emotions, such as anxiety, envy, boredom, and ennui, I think is how you pronounce it. And I think they may have overcorrected a little bit in trying to explain them, and it became a little too simple in its concepts. Yeah.
Yeah, no, all fair points. And now I'll kind of let that lead into our brief discussion here. Something that I found to be very, and again, no spoilers,
Yeah.
something I found to be very poignant and nice is I felt a little bit more connected to the growth of the actual Riley character in this movie than the first movie. The first movie, yes, you're following Riley and you're following this emotional journey that she's going on, but in this film, she is older. She is in that, preteen, teenager era. And it does, you almost get that sense of like, not John Hughes per se, but like that coming of age type of story. And I think that that coming of ageness did help with the Inside Out story, like the emotions in that time period, I thought meshed together really well. Did that work for you as well?
It did, yes. I think my biggest thing with the movie is that I really felt like they didn't do anything different than the first movie. And would even make the argument that they may have even done less. Like you have these concepts like imagination land, you have the whole, was it the abstract sequence. I was missing that sort of sequence in the movie where it's something fun and different, whereas it really just sort of felt like more of the same, I guess. But what I think the movie does very well is having these emotions, right? Because what do you want to do with the character, right? You want to put them in a situation they're not familiar with, and the movie really focuses a lot of that on Joy, and you're literally seeing Joy's world crumble around her, and
Mm,
you as the audience are kind of along with that. You're like, oh man, everything has gone crazy, and I think that works from getting you to connect with Riley's mind.
yeah, yeah, and so I was also worried, and I won't spoil it, but I was also worried how they're going to characterize the new emotions, and how they towed the line between the antagonist and the villain per se. And I thought what they did in the movie and how they pulled it off, I thought was great, especially like the final scene with them in the film. I thought worked in spades, and that was kind of a concern that I had that I was relieved to see was handled well. Did you have any concerns going in where you were like, oh, thank goodness, like that concern that I had is kind of put to the wayside?
I think my main concern was in line with that in terms of making the emotions distinct. Because really, if you look at it, you have fear and you also have anxiety in this movie, which are different emotions, yes, but are do sort of blend together in a sense. So I was so worried of like, is it just going to be the same character but different? And I was worried that maybe fear would become more one dimensional to really highlight what anxiety is, and sort of subtracting with from the original characters. But I think they handled that well.
Yeah, I think so too. I think so too. And to kind of wrap it up, overall, I final thoughts, if you will. We'll go back and forth. I thoroughly enjoyed the film. It does have a couple issues that I noticed as I was watching the film, but they were in no way a hindrance of my experience. Right now, this is easily in the top 10 of the year so far. Maybe I don't know about top five, just because I like Furiosa too much. But I do think that it's a really great film, and I think that families are going to love it. I think it's going to do bonkers money, which the box office needs anyway. And I was really happy to see it. I look forward to seeing it again. And I'm hoping that upon rewatches, the things that bother me don't bother me more, that they kind of just remain the same. and that I wouldn't hate it if they did a third Inside Out movie as Riley gets older. But at the same time, if this was it, I would be satisfied with the story that we have.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. I think that again, I think it is a step down from the first movie. I wouldn't say it's a massive leap, you
Yeah.
know. But I'm very excited to see the early tracking on it. You know, I think it was projected to make 80 million, roughly. I think what the reports were saying.
Something like
which,
that.
which is great to see. Especially since Pixar has really trained a lot of the audience to stay at home and watch it on Disney Plus. You know, with releases like Luca, even Soul and Turning Red. And did they do Lightyear? They did Lightyear, right?
Yes, they did.
You know, so I think it's great. And Lightyear didn't do well at the box office, if memory serves.
Yeah.
So it's great to see that Pixar, you know, that can still get people to the theaters and turn out like that. And I don't know if that's Pixar itself or just the result of sort of a lackluster summer lineup. I'm not sure, but it's great to see, and hopefully they take the right lesson from it. You know, it seems like their lesson is less original content, more sequels, but hopefully it's just put it in theaters and make a good movie.
Yes, yes. Hopefully we can get a mix of both the originality and sequels. But once you guys watch Inside Out 2, what did you guys think? We'd love to see your comments down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next review.